Everyone, Mackie here, and welcome back to another edition of 60 Super Bowls in 60 Days. This time, we are coming to you live from the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana on January 25th, 1981. It is Super Bowl 15 between the Oakland Raiders and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, here's a little strangeness of this Super Bowl, of course. Philadelphia Eagles, their first Super Bowl ever and their first time ever. And yes, I'm wearing a mosquito band because there's mosquitoes there. I am recording this on December 17th. This thing will be coming out on December 22nd, and I'm recording about a Super Bowl that had taken place in 1981. Time is weird. Anyways, Oakland Raiders came in as a wild card team. Now, in case everybody noticed, this is the 80s, and you know about NFL, expansions, money deals, media rights, all this kind of stuff. And you know about these certain things within the business is that when you got many teams, of course, and you got like a few playoff things and playoff teams going through, you need to expand. That's the way the world works. You may not like the expansion, of course, that is taking place. You may not like the whole thing, but if you're going to keep the money growing, if you're going to make sure that we don't have work stoppages, although there's going to be a lot in the MLB and the NFL a couple of years from now, but if you're going to have to grow the money, if you're going to have to keep revenue and make sure the work stoppages, you have to grow, expand, explode. And yes, I'm using the Courage of the Dog reference in case many people do not know, you 90s people. Anyways, Oakland Raiders were one of the teams benefited from the new spangled wild card system, in which the team does not win the division, or I pretty much back in the case, being second in the division. But hindsight is 2020. The Raiders were the beneficiaries of that, and they ride this wave all the way to the Super Bowl and beat the Philadelphia Eagles convincingly. 27-10, Raiders win their second Super Bowl title, and this time it's not John Madden who coached his team. No, we all know about John Madden's differences with him and Al Davis. Like I said, Al Davis is another different creature altogether. This time his coach was Tony Flores, the first Latino coach to ever win this Super Bowl. And while I'm recording this on December 17th, almost a week ago, Fernando Mendoza, a Cuban American born, just won a Heisman for Indiana. I know, weird times. Weird times. And again, time is weird, of course. So, of course, Tony Flores, first Latino coach to ever win the Super Bowl, and well, consider the circumstances right now. Consider everything that we got on. Probably not the last. Hopefully not the last. And, for a coach to do this, representing this whole Latino community, of course, it's something special and it's something to be admired and to behold. But we're not going to get, Tony Flores will get his flowers, of course, in due time. We're going to have to start with these stats. Jim Plunkett was the MVP for 13 of 21 for 261 yards and 3 touchdowns, which is, okay, he was MVP. But, Akeem, you said in the last episode that there's an MVP deserving more than Plunkett. We'll get to that later. And also, I believe Jim Plunkett was also Latin as well. He's like the second Latin descendant to ever win the Heisman. And Fernando Mendoza is the first to do so in a long time. So, I believe that's right. I think that's right. Yeah, that's right. So Jim Plunkett, MVP, impressive. Ron Jaworski, or Jaws for short, playing for Philadelphia, and he was 18 for 38, 291 yards, touchdown, and 3 interceptions. Now you're thinking, Akeem, where does the interceptions come from? Again, I'll get to that later. For the Russian, Mark Van Eggen, 18 rushes for 75 yards for 4.17 a pop. Wilbert Montgomery, 16 rushes for 44 yards to 2.75 a pop. So running was like a non-factor in this game. For the receiving, Cliff Branch, 5 receptions for 67 yards, 13.4 a pop, 2 touchdowns. Kenny King, 2 receptions for 93 yards, 46.5 a pop, with a touchdown. And Wilbert Montgomery for the Philadelphia Eagles, 6 catches for 91 yards, which means he accumulated 135 all-purpose yards. But for the receiving, he put 15.17 a pop. And Keith Crabtree, 2 catches for 16 yards and 8 yards a pop with a touchdown. Now you're thinking to yourself, okay, incredible. The offense does their work. And then this is where the real MVP comes to play. Rod Martin. I believe, and I think hindsight will be 2020. And I understand Jim Plunkett did incredible with 3 touchdowns, 13 of 21, 261. Impressive enough to at least win your MVP. But if I were a voter and I go to a TARDIS, go back in time to like 1981, I will tell the voters you should have given Ron Martin the MVP. Like Ron Martin deserved the MVP, and he was the reason why this scoreline exists. This win exists for the Raiders. 3 interceptions, all in the same game. That has never been done before, and it will never be done in the history of Super Bowl since. To do 3 interceptions in the same game, it's impressive. It's impressive enough, and should have been recognized. Should have been recognized as the MVP. To be honest, it is what it is. He made 5 tackles as well, so he was an all-around beast for that game. Burgess Owen, 7 tackles. David Braun in 4 tackles. For Philadelphia, Charlie Johnson with a sack and 6 tackles. Bill Berge and Frank LeMaster with 5 tackles each. Kicking, Chris Barr, 3 for 3, PAT, 2 for 3 on field goals. Tony Franklin, 1 for 1 PAT, 1 for 2 field goals. Total yards, Oakland Raiders, 377 to Philadelphia, 360. And the turnovers, well, this was not even close. With the 3 interceptions, of course, by Ron Martin. And, of course, a turnover pretty much on downs or pretty much on fumble, of course. It brings the count to Oakland Raiders 0 turnovers, which is efficient, and Philadelphia with 4. Yeah, you cannot win with 4 turnovers. Just cannot win. It's not as egregious as the last Super Bowl, of course, when they have 8 interceptions. The camera freeze, so I'm going to continue. It's not like that, but my God, it was an absolute beating. It was an absolute beating from pillar to post. It was not even close. It brought Tom Flores his very first Super Bowl ever. It brought the Oakland Raiders their second Super Bowl ever. It was the very first wildcard team to win a Super Bowl. And it proves that anybody can win this whole thing. Not just the best teams in the division, of course, but the teams that did not perform well in the season can spring you up to surprise, make a deep run, pull some upsets, and actually win the whole thing. And they're not going to be the first ones to do it. There'll be plenty more of those wildcard teams who went on to win the Super Bowl later in this series. But I just wanted to say, well, Jim Plunkett deserved the MVP, and he was incredible. I feel like Rod Martin deserves some love. Rod Martin deserves some love with his 3 interceptions, 5 tackles. 3 interceptions. Amazing. Anyways, that should do it. Thank you all for watching. Sorry about the camera freeze and all kind of stuff. Tomorrow we'll do Super Bowl 16, and I'll see you all